Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. I am not Minya. I am Robert. I am going to be subbing in for him for today because he's not feeling well. But this is the Oasis Meet the Team, and we are very happy to welcome our community technical lead, Andrew. Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name's Andrew. I am the community technical coordinator at Oasis. I started as no, I like technical lead better. It's fine.
Yeah, lead is. I'm
I'm
the
gonna,
lead now because I'm interviewing, right?
I'm
That's how
gonna
that
say that.
works.
Now, I started as an ambassador about 2 years ago, and then became a moderator full time on the team, and then kind of just worked my way up from there.
All right, cool. Yeah, it's kind of cool for. I guess I don't know if I introduced myself fully, but I do business development normally. I was on the Meet the Team I think a couple weeks ago, so this is not my usual thing. So bear with me, everyone. But yeah, no, happy to have you on. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of go over. We were both at Denver, Denver, 2 weeks ago. So I think we'll probably have a good amount to say about that and discuss about it. So I think we'll probably focus on that first. But yeah, happy to start. So yeah, I want to encourage anyone in the community to ask questions as we're doing this, as always. And yeah, I think that's all I got. So we'll just start. So how did you find out about Oasis?
Through various channels of communication. I first started getting into crypto with Chainlink. That was like the first real crypto that caught my attention. Because I was in the Chainlink Discord. There was also some certain forums where Chainlink was very popular, and a lot of the same Chainlink community like had a lot of overlap with the Rose because for various reasons, mostly because of IC3, which is like Cornell University where Chainlink came out of, and then a lot of the same people involved in that were involved with Oasis. So it's kind of like just was immediately understood that it was like a very big brain project and like very smart people were with it. And yeah. So I guess to answer the question, from Discord and forums is kind of how I found out about Oasis.
Yeah, that was pretty much the same for me as well. Yeah, the IC3 connection I think is something that we all kind of look to. It's like, this is a serious project. We're all about the fundamentals, the technicals, and we're hoping we kind of are continuing to work with IC3, right? Like at least in some capacity. So
yeah, totally.
It's a really cool thing, honestly. So I guess that is kind of what drew you to the project. So we'll kind of not have to double dip. But yeah, let's talk about Denver. So this is not your first, this was not your first trip to Denver. I think this was like your third, I want to say. But what about like the first time you went to Denver? Like, how did that go about, and like, what did you get out of it?
Well, I went there specifically for Oasis. I was an ambassador at the time, and I had never been to a crypto conference before, and Denver's close enough to me. I'm based in California, so it's like a 2-hour flight, and luckily flights these days are pretty cheap. But I went there explicitly with the goal of trying to get a job with Oasis because I obviously I didn't have any experience in Web3 outside of being an ambassador, and I just fell in love with the industry so hard. It was like instant. Like it's just. I mean, we talked about this last time we were at Denver. This is our people. It's just like a bunch of like weirdos and like totally individuals that are like all into the same thing, and we're all kind of like in this wild west together. And I don't know. I just totally fell in love with it. And I was like, I have to do this. Like this is what I want to do. So yeah, I flew to the first at Denver, or my first at Denver 3 years ago, specifically to meet the Oasis team, those that were going to be at Denver, kind of make my intentions very clear that like I'm very passionate about Oasis. I would love nothing more than to like have the opportunity to work for Oasis. I'll do like anything, whatever like you guys need. And I basically spent that entire conference just trying to add value, like just trying to help Oasis, help set up booths, answer questions, like run errands, get coffee, like literally just whatever I could to like add value. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And obviously it worked out. So very good decision, I think.
Yeah, I would most likely agree. No, but I concur. Denver's, the energy is pretty amazing, and I've only been to two ETH Denvers, but I had a blast both times. We discussed this in person while we were both there. But yeah, there's just it's a different crowd. I like we're both from America. I like being around Americans. Got nothing against other people, but it just feels like home. I think I made my Twitter post summary about that. It's nice to be home. So yeah, now that you've been with Oasis, for several years now, how do you view these crypto conferences? Maybe compare Denver to other ones you've been to.
Every other crypto conference that I've been to outside of Ethereum, which isn't a lot. Like I haven't been to like every conference there is, but I've been to a few. I've been like ETHDAM and ETH Global and DevCon. And Denver is just, I don't know, dude, just the vibe is just different. Like it's so Wild West. Like that's like the main vibe of Denver is like you're in the Wild West. When I was at like FDAM or something, it's mostly developers and it's very centric on like on building and hackathons and much more like I don't know, like technical focused. And same thing with like obviously ETH Global Hackathon and DevCon is very like developer focused. ETH Denver is just like you have everybody. You have like total degens that are just like as far degen as it gets, and then you have like huge big brain founders, and you have literally everything in between, and it's all just mingling, and it's just like it's crazy. Like you're at Denver, you never know who's gonna walk up to the booth. Like it could just be somebody who's like never heard of Oasis. It could be somebody that's like they've been in crypto for a couple days. It could be somebody that's like a huge founder that is working with like huge institutions. Like it's just you just have everybody there. It's crazy.
Yeah, it kind of catches you off guard because I completely agree. Like you'll be talking to a student, an undergraduate who just wants to learn more about blockchains, and they're just curious, and you're having a good little conversation. And the next person comes up, and they're like from a bank, and you're like, oh, that's different. That's not like the crypto degen I was expecting. So,
yeah, exactly.
Literally anybody shows up. It kind of keeps you on your toes. All right. So has your view on crypto overall changed though? Like, so, you've been to a few different conferences, you've been, working with ambassadors, and you started as one in the first place. So how has that kind of influenced how you see kind of the industry as a whole?
It's like, I don't know, once I joined Oasis and started working in the industry, it was kind of like, becoming an adult, like kind of realizing that like, yes, this is new technology and it's very exciting and things happen quickly. But at the same time, real expectations should be a little bit tempered because it is still a business. Like you still have to do all the groundwork. Like it's not like you have this idea because this is how I used to think about it. I'm sure other people do too, but it's not like you have this idea for either a blockchain or a protocol, and theoretically, like you know what it's going to do. Like Sapphire, for example, confidential EVM. Like you have this idea that like the minute that goes live, like that's it, like it's done, But it's not like that. Like you still have to go out and do BD. You have to find developers. You have to tell people how it works. You have to sell it. Like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of groundwork, and it takes a lot of time. It's legitimately like building up a new business from the ground up. And yeah, so I guess like my expectations were tempered when I started working for Oasis. Kind of like the reality. Yeah, like I hit reality. Like, oh, it's not just one day you flip a switch and now that this thing's live, it's just all of a sudden success. It's like no, like you still have to build and like do all the things I mentioned. So
yeah, no, I think I've fallen into the same trap before. Just regardless of what project I've been following, it's like, oh well, they launched this feature, the switch has been flipped, and now the whole world's going to change, and everyone's going to be using blockchains. And it's like, no, that's not how that works.
Like that.
It takes a lot of time and a lot of disagreements and all this kind of stuff to get things up and running fully. So, it's a many year long process in some cases. Yeah. So I agree. For me, it wasn't when I joined Oasis, maybe to some extent, but either way, it's very sobering. But on that note, it's like, a lot of components go into this, right? Like you mentioned, you need BD and you need community and all these things. So like in your view, what makes community so important for Web3?
Yeah, that's not an unreasonable question, really, because community, like I don't know of many other industries that have community teams and have the same kind of ambassador programs that crypto has, and has the same kind of relationship with their community that crypto has. It's kind of unique, and I think it does bear, like, it's worth asking, like, yeah, like that question. And I think one of the big things is that I view community as like, um, I don't know, a certain level of support. Like every protocol is going to have ups and downs. They're going to have adversity. They're going to have, thankfully, Oasis has never been like hacked or anything, but the protocols, sometimes that happens, and there's different, I don't know, like fluctuations and everything. And you need that community to be the backbone to help support when things are bad. Like when things are good, don't get me wrong, I still love the community, I still appreciate the community. It's even more fun. We all have fun together. But when things are hard, that's when the community, that's when you need those core believers, to keep the project alive. Because as long as people are talking about it and supporting it, then it can never die. And that's kind of how I view it. It's like an idea. Like once people stop talking about it, it can kind of just like fade away. But as long as people keep talking about it and keep supporting it, then it almost doesn't matter what else happens. It's going to stay alive because the community is literally keeping it alive through those hard times. And so, yeah, I love that. And I think that as a community team member, we have a responsibility to the community to show them the same love and support that they show us, which is, like I said, is so critically important, through like keeping them updated on progress, being transparent when things happen, supporting them, giving them opportunities like the ambassador program, and just really working in tandem. And so I just think it's really important.
That makes sense to me. Okay, so this is a little bit different now, but we're gonna get into some more like personal type questions instead of just talking about work. But what was the first song you remember wanting to learn when you were starting to learn how to play guitar?
I guess the first song technically was like "Smoke on the Water," just because like it's so easy, like that, like it's so easy. But immediately after that, I wanted to learn the solo to "Fade to Black" by Metallica, which is a little step up. Yeah.
All right. You also write your own music, right? I know you helped out with Rosie a little bit. So how old were you when you wrote your first song?
I think probably like I want to say like 12. Yeah, I did help write some music for Rosie. That was really fun. But these days, and I still write music all the time. Like it's a necessary component of my life and like my soul. Like I couldn't be a healthy, sane human being without writing music. That's just like how I am. It's just, so now I don't even show people my music most of the time. I just write it for myself. Like there's just certain expressions I have to get out, or certain feelings I have to get out because they're going to eat me alive, And it's, yeah, I love it. But yeah, like 12 years old probably.
Okay. Yeah, I agree though. I think we talked about this a little bit in private one time, that like I talked about this, I guess, on my Meet the Team, but I started to play trumpet again recently. And me and Andrew were saying how like music is so important. Like it's just this other dimension to your lifestyle that you have to express yourself that way. And it's kind of crazy that so many people just don't have that way to musically express themselves. But yeah, like you said, like you kind of have to do it. I don't know. There's something intangible about it. But yeah, it's
yeah, totally.
It's kind of magical. All right, let's go into the flash round. So we got the 15-minute mark. So I'm just going to ask a bunch of questions. Doesn't have to have a lot of thought put into them. Kind of the same questions we always get everyone else to compare. So we'll start with the first one. What is your zodiac sign?
Taurus.
What was the last movie you watched?
uh, last movie I watched, probably How to Train Your Dragon because I love that movie. But I have to say, just my favorite movie of all time is this movie called The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. And like nobody's heard of that movie, but it stars Brad Pitt, Casey Affleck. Like it has a lot of big names, and it also has like probably like one of the best soundtracks ever. But the whole movie is just a character study of Casey Affleck's character Robert Ford. And I love movies like that. It's very slow. It's not super exciting, a lot of action, but it's just a subtle character development of this character, and it's I don't know, it's very thought provoking. I like it a lot. But
Yeah, I never heard of that.
watch it.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I will. Send it to me after. What's your all-time favorite song?
Probably Simple Man by Leonard Skinner.
Okay, classic rock.
Yeah.
Favorite privacy tool?
Honestly, like I know it's gonna sound cliche, but probably Illuminex because that's just the one that I've used the most. Like, it's fun being able to like airdrop people tokens without them seeing like where they're coming from, and it's fun like being able to, I don't know, like buy different things and have a bunch of different wallets that are all like that can't be traced back to like a source wallet, and then you can do things with those wallets and like have fun. And yeah, I know like it's built using Sapphire, so I'm not trying to be cliche. It's just that's just honestly that's like the one I use the most probably. So
No, I think that's fair. I think we stick around in the space long enough, and that's what we're gonna gravitate towards naturally.
yeah.
And yeah, it's been kind of a mainstay of Sapphire. All right, yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. If you could have any superpower, which one would it be and why?
Yeah. You know, I was gonna say hold my breath forever so I could explore the oceans, including Antarctica, and finally get to the bottom of it. But I think realistically, time traveling probably, because you could what?
Too broken. It's cheating. You can do anything
Yeah,
you want.
exactly. Yeah, it really is like an infinite glitch. Like if I do something wrong, I can just go back and fix it. Like or like you can go back to when the dinosaurs roamed, and you can go back to like epic historical events, like when Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon and stuff like that. And you can see, like I don't know, you can see everything, everything that you want. And then yeah, it's like I said, you can go back in your own life if you need to. So
Yeah, no,
and you can also go forward.
that's true.
Imagine the gains. I'm not saying I would ever do that for legal implications, but the gains could be made.
No, I would never. I don't. Well, I don't think there's any laws in the books regarding using time travel to get
That's true.
insider
Yeah.
secrets. So
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
There's an opportunity here.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out. All right. Again, another kind of technical blockchain type question. If you had to pick between decentralization or scalability, which one would you pick and why?
So I remember your Meet the Team, you said scalability because without that, it's kind of like, what are we doing here? But I would pick decentralization because like that's to me, that's like the whole point of blockchains is decentralization. Like that's the whole reason that we're doing everything was to um, get rid of censorship that comes with being centralized and security flaws that come with being centralized. And like, I mean, to your point, like maybe it would be hard to like, I don't know, bring wider adoption and real like usefulness to the world if there's not scalability. But I'm kind of like a principles driven, like ride or die kind of person. And like, yeah, I would have to go with decentralization.
Yeah, no, I respect that. It's like even if only 1% of us can use this, we will be the 1%, and and anyone else can make their own choices, but at least somebody has that option to be
Yeah, I'm glad
decentralized.
it exists. I'm glad it exists.
It
Exactly.
exists in the first place. Yeah, no, I mean that's how things have been, right? Like, Bitcoin or whatever. Most people realistically can't use it in its current form, but it still exists and it's useful. So there you go.
Yep.
All right. Favorite place to visit?
There's a canyon near where I live. It's like a 20-minute drive, and it's really cool because I live in a city, and I can take a 20-minute drive and get to this canyon that's like out in the woods. Like you go like 20 minutes into the canyon and you feel like you're just like you're out in the middle of nowhere. And I go there periodically, like somewhat frequently when I need to like think about something or like reflect on something or even just go relax. Even though it's only 20 minutes outside of the city, the sky is a lot clearer. Maybe it's just because of the light pollution. I don't know, but or the lack of light pollution. Um, but yeah, that's probably like my favorite place to visit. I go there pretty often.
Interesting. You're starting to sell me on California.
Dude, California is amazing. Yeah.
Right. Would you rather interview Vitalik Buterin or explain blockchain to a beginner?
Definitely explain blockchain to a beginner for sure. Like I already enjoy doing that. Like it's, I'm on the community team. That's kind of like already half of what I do. And yeah, I don't even know what I would ask Vitalik. Like I'm not even at the level of like even knowing what questions to ask, Like so yeah, definitely explain blockchain to beginners.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't really know what I would ask him either. I don't even remember if I answered this on my Meet the Team, but I'm kind of with you.
Yeah.
TEEs or zero knowledge proofs, and why?
Yeah. So I would say T's, obviously, like I'm with Oasis. And I guess like a caveat to that would be like, it's not T's because I'm with Oasis, because I obviously was a fan of Oasis before I was with Oasis. So I kind of liked T's before this. But yeah, just because like the idea of something like Sapphire, where like it's in the background, like it's very, very simple, it's scalable, it's easy to use. I'm not, by any means an expert on ZK, and I know that there's room for ZK in the privacy stacks. Like for sure, it has useful, and I really do like that it's mathematical. Like there's no black box needed. It's literally right there. It's mathematically provable, and like that's really valuable, and I really like that. But just for the simple practicality of T's, right now I like T's.
Okay, yeah, I basically have the exact same opinion. I don't disagree at all. Okay, last one. Favorite conference or hackathon that you have attended? I mean, this is.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotta go with big old F Denver. Like it just, just the vibes at F Denver, dude. It's like, I mean, we could talk about this forever. Like I think we already went over everything, but just the vibes are so great, dude. It's like, yeah, it's just like Wild West, and everyone's there for the same thing, and like I don't know, it feels like there's no rules, kind of, and like we're all in this like crazy new industry together, and like I don't know, it's just a very like I don't know how you would like describe the vibe compared to other conferences, which is great. Like those other conferences, they have like their use cases and like they're better for certain things for sure, But just for me personally, like, oh man, Denver is epic.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I'm checking the chat. Don't see any specific questions. So yeah. Oh yeah. There was definitely a lot of mascots in Denver. A lot of people dressed up. That's another thing. It's just it's just fun. There's nothing that's technical or blockchain focused about, just people dressing up in these random animal costumes, but
yeah,
they just do it. It's just wacky. So
but there could be technical aspects of it if that's what you want. Like that's what's great about it.
Right, you get both.
Yeah. And as far as like the mascots go, I'm not going to name any names, but there are people that exist. I can confirm that they exist that go to F Denver just for the swag, because it's unreal. Like how certain ambassadors that we may or may not know for Oasis. I'm not going to mention names. Like I asked you or anything.
I don't know anyone like that. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah,
definitely didn't stuff multiple bags worth of swag every single day.
Yeah.
That's all I have. We won't name names, but that's all I have. I think that's all that the community has. So Andrew, thank you for joining us this morning. I know it's a little bit early for you, but you did great. And yeah, stay tuned for the next Meet the Team, TBD. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. See you guys.